VeloFix is the source for all of your bicycle needs. When it comes to parts as well as repair, VeloFix is there to help you get back on the road. It's a mobile bike shop on wheels. Check them out at VeloFix.com. And here in Southern California, Paul Dunlap is there at every gravel event, fondo, and bike race to take care of your bicycle and have you get back out there. Check him out at VeloFix.com. This is the SoCal Cycling Podcast with Brian Coe.
SoCal cyclist, and I'm assuming that's Southern Calcutta. Just kidding. Probably Southern California.
Of course it is, so join us for the next episode. Welcome to the SoCal Cyclist Podcast, the podcast that brings you the people and practice of the Peloton. I'm your host, Brian Coe, and today I'm flying a little bit solo, but we do have a lot to cover. Couple things that's been going on. I have been on the gravel bike kick ever since BWR, which just happened a few short weeks ago. I went ahead, bit the bullet, got myself a gravel bike, and have been out on the local trails. And one of the great things about SoCal I never knew is how much fire roads, single track, and just different cool sections I can ride. So I've been doing that, and I suggest everybody get out there and do it as well. You're going to love it. I mean, I'm not abandoning my road or anything like that, but it is great to shake things up and expand and keep growing as a person, as a cyclist. I mean, part of the reason why I'm starting this podcast and continuing it and different aspects of the sport is to really push myself in lots of different ways. And I think gravel is just one extra way of doing that. So, like I said, it's fantastic. I'm on for the technically inclined, I'm on a 1x setup with like a 40 tooth front and an 1142 in the back. I've got 33 tires. I'm experimenting with some different ones. And I think it's one of those sports where you really have to just trial and error sometimes, experiment with your tire pressure, the width, all these different factors that you don't really think about on the road. And then in terms of the technical side, it's just a matter of practice and trusting yourself and doing it. So I recommend you do it. It's a new part of the future, and super big thanks to Gravel Stoke and Ruler Brewery for hosting different rides for me to go out on, because it is quite easy to get lost out there. So if you want to reach out to me, go ahead and shout out a email at brian@socalcyclist.org. Reach out to me as well on Instagram, iTunes. I'm already there. Instagram, Facebook, as well as Twitter. And you can send in your mail. We have a lot to get to today, so I do want to go ahead and get right into it. So last week, I was at a little event, not so little anymore, called Sea Otter. It's up in Monterrey, California, and it's kind of a first experience of SoCal going to NorCal. And what it is the largest multi-day bike race / festival in the United States. On the bike racing side, it has road, it has fondo, it has mountain biking, it has dual slalom, downhill, I think single speed. It has just about everything you can do. And then on the non-bike racing side, it is, I think, other than maybe Interbike, the country's largest expo featuring many, many different brands, many different retailers, and it's a way of getting the great stuff out there to the public. For me, it's kind of a weird experience because I was there for the first time actually not racing. I was pretty much there as a journalist, and it was kind of surreal trading one hat for another. I first went to Sea Otter way back in the, I would say late 90s, and it's changed a lot since then. I think one of the big things that I noticed is road is being eclipsed by other facets of the sport. I mean, I got to test ride a lot of bikes, one of them being an e-bike, and I know people aren't super stoked on e-bikes, some are. I got to ride a couple of gravel bikes. There's just so many different things out there that it's hard to, just say, okay, it's only for roadies or only for mountain bikers. So Sea Otter is quite the festival, and for me, it was a surreal experience because I was a part of the media. And with media, you get certain privileges. You get to park, inside the infield of Laguna Seca. They go to a media room. They issue your passes. They go through sort of like they have an itinerary for the day, so you don't want to miss events. But what I did was pretty simple. First of all, I got to stay with the fabulous and hardworking Scratch Labs crew. Stayed with them throughout the duration of the Sea Otter Classic, and they put me up, and we did some cool stuff with them. So thank you to Scratch Labs. And then what we did was we hit the pavement, going from booth to booth to booth and checking out some really cool stuff. In between all that, there's bike racing going on at the same time around the Laguna Seca racetrack, and there's multi events happening at the same time as well. So what we did was we went around, we talked to some people, we got some interviews, and we have them here on the show. And I'll admit, I am not, nor have I ever been, that techie of a person. There's other people out there that obsess over it. There's DC Rainmaker and people like that. But when it comes to me, I'm fascinated by tech, but at the same time, I'm not up on the latest trend. So this was kind of a new experience for me to actually go out there, see what the vendors have, and kind of get that experience. And it's a little bit of a bicycle overload if you have not been to Sea Otter before, because there's so many different things happening. But at the same time, it's a chance to check out some new stuff. So let's get right into it. The Sea Otter Show. I know you've been super excited to hear it. Let's go ahead and hear what some of the vendors had to say. What's your name and what company are you with?
My name is Luke Musselman. I'm with Goodyear Premium Bicycle Tires.
And Goodyear, it looks like, is, you said a moment ago, entering in the cycling market, so you have tires for just about everything.
Yeah, that's our goal. We're coming into the market with 4 major categories that we're defining as road, your traditional road, but we're focusing on wider fitments, larger volume tires. The Transit, which is your urban utility, everyday usage tire. Our all-terrain, also known as the gravel segment, larger volume, 35, 40 millimeter tires, and also then the mountain range, which is our largest lineup overall.
Okay. Noticing a couple things. You don't make a 23 tire anymore. That seems to be, a trend, and it's 25 and up for road, and then specifically for gravel, which is the newest segment. Talk us through the tire widths and decisions behind those.
Yeah, so we're in a unique position, very large tire company, but we're able to step back, look at the market, look at not necessarily where the market is now, but where the market is going. We see larger volume tires. The other thing you'll notice here is that every tire we have on display here is tubeless. So our road lineup is 100% tubeless across the board. We're starting with an all-season tire because that's the type of riding people are doing. They're riding all season long, summer, winter, rain, bad weathers. But we're focusing on larger fitment sizes, so we're also designing around larger internal width rims. So our tires our road tires, we start at 25, so 25 and 28 millimeters are designed around a 19 millimeter inner rim, and our 30 and 32 millimeter road tires, the Eagle All Season, are designed around a 21 millimeter inner rim.
And is that decision also based on how most bikes are moving to the disc brake route rather than rim brake?
So as we're, with the proliferation of disc brakes into the road market, that frees up area around the crown and on the chain stays or seat stays where the caliper was, and it opens that up for us the ability to run a larger volume tire that rolls better, provides greater traction, and more importantly, great comfort. Additionally, we're launching with our tubeless complete lineup. So all these tires use our tubeless complete technology. You can put these tires on any of the modern day tubeless rims and mount them up with either a floor pump or even a hand pump. They mount right away. We have some pretty unique stuff happening with our bead shape that allows us to do that, and also the materials we use on the casing.
All right. Thank you very much.
Yeah, no problem.
One thing we noticed with many tire manufacturers is they're going all in on gravel. It's really interesting to see the new progressions, tire widths, tire treads are making, and Goodyear is definitely at the forefront. Next, we hit up the Envy booth.
Jake Pantone, Envy Composites.
Okay, so what do we have going on with this release right here for the disc setup?
Yeah, so what this is it's called Speed Release. It's a technology that was developed by our sister company Mavic. And the idea here is with the introduction of disc brakes and through axles, on the race side, there's been a need for a quicker release system. So basically it's a hybrid concept between a quick release and a standard through axle. So what you have is on the fork, you have an open dropout on the right side and a closed dropout on the disc brake side. So you'll see basically standard. And what that does is you'll see that the axle itself is keyed.
Okay.
Or that it necks down. So basically this is what you'd have with your standard dropout. So you can go ahead and slides in, and then it's basically spring loaded, so it snaps back to where now it's retained.
Right.
And then just threads in.
So it kind of does away with, you don't need like a typical Allen key to take with you on the rides. Is this specific to the NV fork as well?
Yeah, so Mavic developed the axle technology, and given that we're a fork manufacturer, we developed a specific fork to match the axle. So yeah, a lot of the custom frame builders are speccing bikes now with this fork and this axle system with a quick release. The other thing with it is it has a torque key in it, so that snapping is basically the torque.
Yeah.
So you always
never over tighten it.
Yeah, so you get a consistent torque measurement each time.
Yeah. Awesome.
Hi, I'm Taylor, DT Swiss. We are looking at our CRC 1400. That is a cyclocross and gravel bike wheel. It's based around a 22.5 internal rim width, which plays very nicely with a 33C tire or bigger. So that kind of trend that's happening, gravel, cyclocross, this is a great wheel for that. What it is, a super stiff carbon rim based around a 240 hub. It's a straight pull hub that is using
We spin that hub for sound. Oh, it's quiet.
Yeah, and
It is a very quiet hub.
yes, this with this particular wheel, it's coming with our upgraded ratchet system, so you get a 36-tooth ratchet inside of that 240 spline hub. Yeah, it's a really nice wheel. It's super lightweight, really stiff, and it'll help optimize your gravel or cross bike out there.
So basically, if you're coming up on someone, they're not going to see it coming. You'll just fly right by them. You can sneak up.
Exactly. From the noise of our hubs down to the decal, it's a very flat, very clean-looking wheel. Yeah.
And this is used both for cyclocross and gravel.
Yes.
What's the max size tire you can use on this?
We usually let the frame company decide that. We have a limit on the smallest size tire is based around a 33C, so we do not recommend running anything smaller than that on this particular setup. We do have another wheel in our lineup, the ERC, which is an endurance road that'll accommodate tire sizes smaller than that. So.
If you watch Paris-Roubaix and watch Peter Sagan's computer mount setup, we talk to the people behind it.
I'm Tim Kelly, and I'm the brand manager at Kedge. Kedge is based in Boise, Idaho.
All right. Well, it looks like for the people that weren't at Paris-Roubaix, they got to for the people that are here at Sea Otter, they can actually see a very important piece of equipment.
Right. So we partnered with Wahoo just recently to come out with an Aero mount for their Aero Bolt computer. The Bolt is an Aero computer, but without the accompanying mount, it doesn't complete the Aero profile, which, the wind tunnel says saves 12 seconds over 40K. Sagan won by half a second, so I guess the 12-second, advantage must have been a little bit of a help.
So I think what we can definitively say is he won Paris-Roubaix because of Kedge.
Well, there's a strange sort of tie-in in that Froome has won 4 tours, Kedge every time. Wiggins actually used Kedge as well. Nicky Terpstra has won Paris-Roubaix using Kedge. Quick-Step used Kedge. They all ride Kedge right now. Most of the teams ride our chain catcher, which we were the originator of the chain catcher 9 years ago. It wasn't really a commercial product, and some people had fashioned something like a coat hanger to keep the chain from falling off, but we pioneered that. And the teams ride Kedge chain catchers, and then the computer mounts. They're on 11 out of the 16 pro teams, but it's really Paris-Roubaix where they're bouncing everything off their bikes that we kind of stand out.
And so what is sort of, I know this design is very distinct when it comes to the Kedge Wahoo combination. It was built with a little bit of sleek aerodynamics involved.
Sure, actually Wahoo was quite smart. They come at cycling computers from a cyclist perspective, and Garmin is a great company, but I think they make GPSs first and then make them for cycling second. Wahoo really said, what does the cyclist want? It's right on the front of the bike. Aerodynamics is key. But so many great computer companies or camera companies like GoPro or light companies like Light in Motion, they make really good electronics, but the mount is the afterthought. We make really good mounts. That's all we really like to say we do, although we make chain catchers, chain guides, etc. But at the end of the day, we make the best mount. And so if you combine the best computer and let the best mount people make the mount for it, you now have an even better product. And I think companies like Shimano, Wahoo, and you'll see a handful of others, adding Kedge as the mount for their elite level electronic, that is a value add. Now the consumer says, man, I'm going to get that computer. It's really great. And it comes with that like Rolex of mounts. So that's where Kedge has kind of jumped into the forefront as of late.
And can you say that the Kedge mount is out now for people that want to look like Sagan?
Yeah, I mean you're launching it here at Sea Otter. It's now SoCal Cyclist, can say that the Kedge Wahoo mount is out there. I think we flip the switch this afternoon when we get back to the computers at the hotel here in Monterrey and put them online. But no, you will see this Kedge mount in all the best bike shops in the country, but also Kedge.com, Wahoo.com, and you'll be able to find this new Wahoo Bolt Aero mount by Kedge pretty much anywhere.
One of the coolest and perhaps smallest pieces of tech at Sea Otter was the tire pressure monitoring system in real time from Quark. At $200 a pop, they are not cheap, but we couldn't get enough of this new kind of technology.
So I'm Jesse Bartholomew with Quark.
All right, and what does Quark have new for us at the Sea Otter Classic?
We have the world's first real-time tire pressure sensor for bikes. So it's a system that threads into the valve stem of an existing wheel or tire and monitors or measures tire pressure, displays it on a Garmin, and we've also got a mobile app that goes along with it.
Okay, so what sort of applications does this have to monitor your tire pressure in real time?
Well, it starts with accuracy. I mean, everybody has a bike pump kicking around in their garage or basement, but a lot of them really aren't very accurate. And so, by having a system that's on the wheel all the time, you get the same measurements that are extremely accurate in all conditions at all times. So, out on the trail, out on the road, wherever you are, you've always got that same measurement at that same precision and accuracy. So applicable for, like I said, every application: road, mountain, gravel, fat bike, tubeless with sealant. It's all compatible.
And what you were telling me earlier, like as say you're a mountain biker, as you're sort of bombing a descent, and that descent happens to be technical, you can see in real time actual changes and variations within tire pressure.
Yeah, and as wheel designs and tire designs change and everything's getting kind of wider, people intuitively know you've got to reduce pressure, but it's always a question of how much pressure to reduce. And so by having the data at your fingertips or always there, you can associate given pressure with those experiences out on the trail and say, okay, that was too low. 21.5 is too low. I need to be at 22.5. I'm going to try 24.5 or whatever. So you still have to do that trial and error process, but now you've got data at your fingertips to help get you to the point where it's optimal much faster.
We're here with none other than Priscilla Savoy with Physique. She has been a previous guest on SoCal Cyclist Podcast Season 1, and since her time on that show, she's been nothing but a success. We're here at the 2018 Sea Otter, and she's here to, first of all, how are you?
I'm doing great. It's a little breezy, a little windy.
And we're standing in the shade in the cold.
SoCal, I miss you. It's cold. It's very cold up here. Save me, SOS.
So what's new with Physique for 2018?
There's a lot of new platforms, new categories, new products. I'm super stoked about. But I think the most prideful that we want to talk about here is going to be the world's first performance knitted shoe.
And what we're looking at here, it's a knit shoe. It runs on a boa retention system, and I'm holding it in my hand literally right now, and it's pretty light, but it doesn't feel flimsy at all.
Exactly. So, yes, there are other companies that do have a knit shoe. However, what makes ours different is it's performance based. So, knit where it needs to be knit. However, if you look at the upper here, it's a microtex material. So that microtex material is based for performance. So when you're pedaling, imagine a full knit shoe while you're pedaling. It's comfortable, but it's not very compliant in the fore-aft, up and down position. Mm-hmm. So that microtex is actually helping you with that. To kind of give you an idea, Physique is going to stick a few riders at the Tour de France on the knit shoe.
Can you say which riders or not yet?
I want to keep my job, so let's not.
We can only guess.
So
we'll let the people out there speculate until they tune into the tour, and then they see it on the riders' feet.
Yeah. So I mean, especially with us living in SoCal, right? This is a very breathable shoe. It's phenomenal. So double boa system, infinito there. As I engage the system here, you can see these tabs being engaged, and what happens is it changes the whole entire upper the way it encloses, so it eliminates that hot spot that some shoes get. Also new for this season is the dynamic arch support. So this shoe with the dynamic arch support makes it a more of a versatile shoe in the sense of if you have a flat foot, wide foot, high arch, this dynamic arch support will contour to that rider's foot.
So you don't need extra material necessarily.
Yeah. So, world's first performance knitted shoe.
All right, and when do these come out?
These were just launched about 4 months ago. So these are available in your local bike shops.
And can you say the retail price?
$450 MSRP.
Okay.
Absolutely.
I'm Bruno Suttles with IRC Tire.
Bruno, thanks for joining us today. We're here at the 2018 Sea Otter in Laguna Seca Raceway, and we're checking out the IRC booth. What do we have going on with the tires?
Well, for this year, we've decided to focus a lot on the gravel market for the U.S. We got everything starting from a 700 by 28 road tubeless tire, 700 by 32, all the way to 740C, and then we coming out now, starting this fall, we got a couple prototypes here of some 650B Road Plus tires, which are a lot of fun to ride, let's say.
So we're seeing that gravel riders are using cyclocross tires to do gravel events, but you have sort of your own take on it.
Yeah, absolutely. We've talked to some of the top riders that we work with who race the gravel, who's done either cross or road and transition in this gravel scene, and we've looked at to what tires they need. And we've come up with our new series would be the Boken family. And so we started off with 2 new tires that we've launched this past week. It's going to be a 700 by 36 and a 700 by 40 tire. They're file tread centers with some side knobs, some extra puncture protection in those as well. And you can do anything from spandex stampede to dirty Kansas with those. And they're a tire that you would leave on your bike and ride anywhere, anything with them.
Nice. And we're staring at your bike, your setup. Talk to us about your BWR setup you brought here with you to Sea Otter today.
Yeah, so for BWR, I got to do the wafer. Didn't want to put myself through too much misery.
It's still hard though.
Yeah, it was still a hard day out there. So I ran the Sirac sand tires. Those are a 32C file tread, tubeless of course, and those turned out to be the bread and butter and winning tire for us at BWR this past weekend. It was a very popular tire for so much pavement, yet a fair amount of dirt. You know, it's a tire that rolls really well on the pavement with that file tread center, but it hooks up well on the sides.
And that is only after the first day. Coming up after the break, we go to day 2 of Sea Otter to find out more tech. Stay tuned. Is your bicycle in need of repair? Have you had a bad experience at your local bike shop? VeloFix might be the alternative. VeloFix is a mobile bike shop on wheels, and what they do is they go to your home as well as your work, and they'll work on your bike right in front of you. They also carry an assortment of soft goods such as tires and tubes, and will get your bike ready for that next event. VeloFix is often seen at many bike races, but can also be seen driving around in case you need them. VeloFix will have a quick turnaround time, friendly service, and they'll go to great lengths to make sure you're a return customer. They are featured in almost every major city in the United States, and their base is growing. VeloFix is a major bike shop on wheels, and what they have inside those vans is just about everything that the bike shops carry. If they can't do it, nobody will. Check them out at velofix.com. For the second day of Sea Otter, we started the day off by talking to one of the biggest bike industry leaders, Giant Bicycles. Here's what they had to say when we met with them in the morning.
Hi, good morning. This is Andrew Juskaitis with Giant Bicycles. We're here at the 2018 Sea Otter Classic, and we're sitting down for a couple questions.
All right, so Giant has a pretty awesome setup this year at Sea Otter. It's got sort of a waterfront view, tucked a little bit away from some of the chaos. What's new for 2018 with the Giant bike line?
Yeah, when we come to events, we definitely want to make an impression. So we're out here what we call Giant Island, and we've got a luau theme this week where we're doing a big pig roast tonight, since we're going to embrace the island kind of feeling tonight. So big presents, but really this is Friday morning. We're getting things kicked off. People are really starting to trickle into the event. Beautiful weather. It's going to be a great event.
Yeah. So is Giant taking a dip into some of the newer aspects of cycling, like the gravel scene, or?
Yeah, it's definitely interesting. If you ask about what trends are happening right now, we've just seen our on-road sales start to diminish. More and more people are starting to be interested in riding a little bit off the beaten path, if you want to call that gravel grinding. And so we have some gravel grinder product that we'll be launching this summer, as a matter of fact. Nothing we can talk about right now. But we've obviously been studying the market. We have our angle on the market, and we have a unique product coming out later this summer, which I think is going to be really exciting.
And all you can say, it's bicycle related.
Yeah, I mean, what's really interesting about if you call it the gravel grinder market, is there isn't one way to do it right. Every single brand here has something to offer, and pretty much everybody's doing it differently, and that's what's really cool about it. Unlike a road bike or even some mountain bike stuff where there's almost a formula to how to make one. Gravel grinder, that type of market, there really aren't any rules. So
it's kind of the Wild West right now for gravel.
It's absolutely the Wild West. Everybody claims they know how to do it, and in fact, nobody really knows how to do it exactly, but everybody's giving it a good shot, and there's a lot of cool, interesting product out there.
From the biggest to one of the smallest, we shift over to the folks at Redshift Sports, who create suspension on your stem as well as your seat post. Now, if you're old enough, you might be thinking, Gervin, soft ride, this is a little bit different.
I'm Stephen Honor with Redshift Sports, and we're showing two products today. We have a suspension stem that's designed for gravel, road, e-bike, commuting, and our brand new product that we just launched on Kickstarter actually is our shock stop seat post. So again, it's a short travel suspension seat post that's designed for gravel, road, e-bikes, commuting. Basically, the two products together give you a really nice, quote-unquote full suspension setup on a rigid road bike or gravel bike or commuter. So.
And the main customer though is your gravel grinder type rider. You don't really see this on road riders or anything like that?
Actually, when we originally designed the stem, we started out targeting the road market. It's really nice for anywhere where there's bad roads. It's excellent in absorbing high frequency, low amplitude, vibrations that you get on chip seal or just anywhere where there's cracks. So if you're riding in the city, on roads, it works great for that too. Obviously, it's perfectly suited for gravel because, having a little bit of compliance on the front end of your gravel bike makes a huge difference over longer rides especially. So, here at Sea Otter, we're kind of focusing on that, but it's really nice fit for those other demographics as well.
And some of our more elder experienced riders may remember the soft ride stems from the mid-90s. How is this sort of similar and different?
Yeah, so the soft ride, the Gervin flex stem, people remember those. What we like to say is this is sort of the spirit of those stems, but in an embodiment that takes advantage of 30 years of manufacturing improvements. So literally, what we tell people is those pivots that were on soft ride and the Gervin flex stem, those were literally the first suspension pivots that were ever put on bikes. So since then, we've had 30 years of suspension pivot development, for full suspension mountain bikes. This stem takes advantage of that. It has full complement enduro brand bearings in the pivot. It will never develop play. It's super torsionally rigid and indistinguishable from a regular rigid stem, except that it's compliant in the vertical direction. So, the problems with those old stems where they were noodly, your steering input would be sort of like steering.
A little sketchy, but it made the riders maybe better.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, it improves your reaction time. So, this doesn't have those issues. It has a 3D forged body that's ultra rigid, and basically doesn't require any sort of maintenance of the rider over its lifetime, basically. So.
And how can people find out more about Redshift Sports?
So they can go to www.redshiftsports.com, and we're actually actively running the Kickstarter for the ShockStop seat post, and that's on Kickstarter.com. They can search for ShockStop seat post on Kickstarter.
We now switch from the bike to the body and talk to the folks at Oakley with some of their new eyewear.
Hello, my name's Jason Prescott from Oakley, and we're here at Sea Otter.
All right, 2018 Sea Otter. Oakley is an iconic brand in cycling. What is new for 2018? We're looking, I know it's hard to see for the listeners out there, but we are looking at some pretty cool glasses here.
Yeah, absolutely. So we have two new cycling specific pieces. One is called Flight Jacket and the other one is called Field Jacket. What is common between these two is a new technology called the Advancer. So what that is basically a way to ventilate the eyewear and reduce that fog, dump that fog out of the inside of the lens. So on steep climbs when you're having that issue, right now the standard is kind of just pulling the eyewear away from your face, right?
Like an old man or a woman.
But what happens when you do that?
They fall off.
Yeah, they could fall off. You got some optic issues. The top of the brow can kind of, distort or like throw you off a bit, things like that. So the Advancer is basically a solution to that problem. So yeah, both of the Flight and Field Jacket both have that technology into it.
And are these glasses out now, or?
Yes, sir. Yeah, they just released this month, so they are available. Some really great colors. I would say the Flight Jacket kind of has a bit of a taste of the Jawbreaker look to it, with a rimless top design. And then the Field Jacket is a full-framed design. I'd see more of like an enduro mountain biker probably liking the Field Jacket, but they can go either way.
Yeah, Oakley's not going to get mad if you take it on the road or dirt. Awesome, thank you so much.
Absolutely.
After trying on some shades, we head over to one of our original partners for the brand and the podcast, and a product I've been using for a long time. It's a small company from Northern California called VeloToes, and they make some of the most interesting shoe coverings around.
So yeah, my name is Joe Fang. I'm one of the co-founders for VeloToes.
And we're here at the 2018 Sea Otter Classic in Monterey, and VeloToes is a NorCal company, but it's a very simple idea that works. So for the people out there that may have not heard of VeloToes, what's VeloToes known for?
Well, we're the first one that kind of got into the latex shoe cover idea, and we was able to market it worldwide. And a lot of people using that for racing training in the rain. And we get testimonies. People say that this is really one product that actually works in the rain, prevents shoes get wet. This has been the third year, so we're trying to develop some other product for all around for cycling as well.
And it seems like at least the people using them are starting to use them in time trials and other events that involve not just wet, but just for speed.
No, I mean, this is kind of like the beauty of it is not only just functional for against the rain, the elements, but also against wind. The biggest resistance is wind. So a lot of the guys are using for time trial, which we got 3 world champs last year just using the VeloToes in the time trial. So it's a niche product, but it has a lot of benefits.
And I'm staring at a really nice looking pair of socks. Can you tell us about those?
Yeah, so this year we launched our new wool compression socks. It's a merino wool. So it's really lightweight, but it's just the right amount of compression and warmth for a daily ride.
And with that combo, it seems to work well together. Well, congrats on your third year, and it's VeloToes, I think, is something that once you try it, you're thinking, where has this been all my life? So you've definitely created a great product. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
At one of the most recognizable bikes out there, we talk with Niner Bikes, who came up with a prototype of a dual suspension gravel bike. We had to talk about it.
Hi, my name is Chris Sugai, president of Niner Bikes.
And we're here at 2018 Sea Otter Classic in Monterrey, and we're both staring at this dual suspension gravel bike that seems to be sort of stealing the show here at Sea Otter. Can you tell us a little bit about the bike?
Well, if you've been following the story, last year we showed an early Frankenstein bike that we worked on, showing we were doing some mule work on it, and we then did a YouTube video about an aluminum mule for this, and now we're kind of showing one of our more final prototype versions of the actual bike, and getting the public's reaction to it, which has been...
What's the reaction been like?
It's been pretty polarizing. People are either, I think if you're a gravel cyclist, they get it, and they think about the areas where they wish they had dual suspension, and then I think people that have never ridden it have formed a solid opinion they don't like it, which is,
It's a shame.
Which is, no, it's okay. I understand. I've been doing this for a long time. When I first started Niner and we came out with 29ers, a lot of people thought the idea didn't make any sense at all, and a number of bike editors wouldn't even test the bike, even though we offered to send it to them. So,
but you'd think with gravel bike, because it's so new, there'd be less pushback because it's sort of, we're still in the infant phase of gravel riding.
At the end of the day, we built this for a very specific rider, and we're not trying to say this is for everybody. Not at all. We feel that there are a number of gravel areas and gravel types of riding where you do want some comfort, you do want the added traction of suspending the wheel versus suspending the rider. And with our knowledge of full suspension, we just feel that there are definitely a group of riders out there that this bike is going to resonate well with.
What's sort of the ideal terrain to take this bike out on?
We think, people that are riding, long distances, 100, 200 mile rides and encountering all different kinds of surfaces. So the bike has the lockout feature. So when you're on smooth areas, you can lock the bike out. But then when you encounter bumpier, especially washboard sections, you can unlock the bike, get a lot more stability. You feel a lot more secure when you're going fast downhill on the bike as well. And then, there's a lot of different types of gravel throughout the United States and that people are riding. And there's areas where the gravel is really rough. And there's a lot of people that want to go out and have a ride and they just want to enjoy themselves. They don't want to come back completely punished and wrecked. And this gives them a really peaceful experience. And so again, we're building this for a certain group of riders and trying to target what their needs are. And we're not saying it's for everybody. Obviously, we have our full line of gravel bikes that for all different kinds of uses.
Well, definitely, I like it, and it's ideas like this that sort of push the envelope a little bit and forces people to think a little bit outside the box, which is what cycling could use every now and then.
For us, we're just trying to make bikes that avid riders will appreciate, and again, we're just targeting a certain type of rider, and again, I think those riders that have come into the booth and looked at it, they automatically think about this is great, and we're hoping we're meeting all of their needs.
And then to one of the lesser-known frame builders, we talked to a small outfit out of Austin, Texas called Chumba Bicycles.
Hi, my name is Vince Colvin, and I'm one of the owners at Jumby USA. We're here at Sea Otter this year with Cocoa bearings and State wheels, and showing also some great challenge tires. And bikes we have here for the show is our new Terralingo gravel bike and cyclocross bike. It's a pretty amazing product. We actually fabricate these in-house in small batches. Currently they're being built to order. Lead times are about a month. Frame retails for $1,450, frame sets for $2,000, and complete custom builds starting at $28 and going up. Unique things about the bike, it has a really well thought out geometry. It also includes Paragon sliding dropouts in stainless steel. So really versatile for mud clearance as well as tire clearance. Tire clearance can go up to a 700 by 50. It's also 650B plus compatible. We've really focused on having a gravel bike that's really stable at high speed, great mud clearance, fits all the chainring options that you want, like a 52 on a double or a 44 oval on a single. So it works great for a 1x or 2x.
And what materials are you fabricating?
We're fabricating that bike all in double-butted 4130 chromoly. It's made primarily with a Verawall USA-made tube set, as well as some tubes from True Temper and occasionally from Columbus. We're fabricating that entirely in-house, which is pretty fantastic at that price point. We're also showing here our Stella Titanium 29er, which is another made in USA product. We have that bike available in 29 and 27 plus configurations. It'll do a rigid fork, 100 mil travel, or a 120. We've had riders complete major events like Tour Divide on it, massive long endurance races. Our cross-country team uses the bike, and it's been super popular for single speeders, which is one of my personal passions for mountain biking in general.
And so what part of the USA are they fabricated?
Yeah, our company is based in Austin, Texas, and we have in-house fabrication there with one of our other owners, Mark Combs. So it's kind of unique that we have a production company making stuff in the U.S. where both owners are really involved at this level with the company.
You're one of the few people from Texas with no Texas accent.
Well, I'm originally from Virginia, and
that explains.
Yeah, and then I spent a lot of time up in Philadelphia before I moved down to Texas.
Okay, so
I've been in Austin for 8 years. Almost everyone there is a transplant now.
Oh.
You know, it's a great city though. You go and you just get stuck there, and we got miles of gravel riding, and anywhere you put your finger on the map, there's a mountain bike trail.
And now we talk to one of the industry leaders when it comes to riding your bike indoors.
Sure. So my name's Jose Mendez. I'm with Wahoo Fitness. I'm a director of product management.
All right, and let's talk us through some of these trainers. This is a very distinct type of trainer that makes things a little bit more real.
Correct. Yeah. So we have a product line of smart bike trainers that really are anchored by the Kicker, and the Kicker really came to market about 4 or 5 years ago, and it was really the first kind of trainer to enhance the experience to a point where people actually were starting to enjoy being on a bike trainer. And what it does is really can adjust resistance and really give you a more realistic feel of pedaling because of the technology that we're using and the flywheel that we added. That weight created that inertia. So when you stop pedaling, the unit kind of stays almost up to speed still a little bit, so it's almost like coasting on a bike. So you can pick up your pedaling stroke again and then still kind of get that feel versus the old school trainers where as soon as you stop pedaling, they just clamp down and you have to like power up and back again. So that's on a base kind of structure. That's kind of what the bike trainer does. And then now today, obviously, you can use our app and like create workouts or kind of download workouts and match the power efforts that you need, and then in addition to kind of doing just workouts on your on our app, the Kicker also connects to platforms like Trainer Road, Zwift, etc. And obviously,
so it's basically making the experience probably the most realistic out of all the ones that are out there. Would you say?
Yeah, we believe so. And actually, I would say that we can stand behind that today with the release of the Kicker Climb, right? Which is the unit that actually now connects to the front of your bike. And what it's done is, so we really have a really good experience on a pedaling side of the bike experience. But the reality is that until the Kicker Climb, your bike was still level, right? So you couldn't replicate quite climbing other than to a resistance. So the kicker climb now will take the front of your bike and take it up to 20% grade or down to minus 10% grade. So you can train, like if you're preparing for like a uphill TT, right? You can now create intervals and put yourself at 10% grade and just train at that level. Or on something like a Zwift, it's actually going to be able to match the contour, so you'll feel your bike going up and down, and as you start going up with the resistance, now your bike is going to start facing upward. It's going to start rising in that gradient, so you're really much more naturally going to stand up and start pedaling the way that you would on the road. So I really would stand behind telling you that this is the most realistic experience on indoor training.
The beauty of wheels is that fast wheels are fast, whether it's on the road or whether it's in a triathlon or whether it's in a time trial. And Irwin does everything from road to gravel to MTB, rear disc wheel. So we cover it all. We got it all covered. We've got the deep wheels for the really aero geeks, and yeah, even a disc.
Gravel.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
How
Got
long?
brand new stuff coming. Hot tip.
Nice. How long has the company been around?
Company itself has been around. Irwin as a company has been around for well over 20 years, and Irwin as a wheel brand has been around since 2014.
Okay. So when
new to the U.S., Sea Otter last year in 2017.
Oh, okay, gotcha. So they're just hitting the U.S. market.
Correct.
Correct. How's the ride quality? All the things that everybody wants to know. Aero gains over a 40K TT, like all those things.
Well, the beauty is that they have all that and then some. Irwin is blessed with an in-house engineer who's from the U.S. aerospace industry. Okay. So there's some real honest-to-God design stuff going on there. But we use high-quality ceramic bearings, Sapim spokes. All of our carbon rims start off as a spool of thread. So we have 100% control over what the fabric is, the resins being used. We use a special composite and resin for the brake track so that it dissipates heat way better so you don't get brake fade, all that kind of stuff. So it's up there easily. And we had 3 of the wheel sets in the San Diego wind tunnel against a leading brand.
Okay.
One of those big ones that you see a lot here.
Right.
And 2 out of the 3 wheel sets beat them in the wind tunnel.
Really?
Yeah. And the one that didn't beat them was on average on par with them.
Okay.
So, when you're looking at where you're going to spend your money to upgrade a bike, the wheels are always, and I'm saying this not because I'm here with a wheel brand, but the wheels are the biggest improvement you can make on any bike.
Exactly.
And you could spend twice as much for a set of wheels that does what these do, but you might as well spend less and still be able to buy tires.
So how does this compete? Like, what's the price point on these wheels compared to some of the other bigger brands?
Well, they start off with an aluminum wheel set that's a high-quality aluminum wheel set that's only $600 retail. And then the high-end carbon wheels go up to $1,800.
Okay.
So still super competitive, super competitive. Especially when you consider the fact that you've got the Sapim spokes, ceramic bearings, the proprietary hub design, that 6-pawl freewheel I was showing you, 6-pawl, 3 teeth, 60 teeth of engagement on the ring on the inside.
This is the hub right here.
6 pawls with 3 teeth on each pawl, engaging on a 60-tooth ring. So it's as close to instant as you're going to get.
Okay. And in terms of how people can get them, is it sold direct to consumer? Do you find it in shops?
We're growing the retail base, but you can go to the irwincycling.com website and buy straight from there. Free shipping. Yeah.
Gotta love that.
Yeah.
All right, thanks, Tim.
You're certainly welcome.
When I wasn't roaming around the field and dirt and grass of Sea Otter and checking out all the vendors, my sort of unofficial home base was at the Scratch Labs tent. At the tent, they were obviously giving out their Scratch hydration products to many, many thirsty cyclists and walkers and parents and babies and little kids, but they were showcasing some of their newer bars. I would say that the most interesting bar and most talked about bar that they had was a savory bar that's ginger and miso flavored. A lot of bars tend to be on the sweet side. Scratch went ahead and went with the savory side, and we got a little bit of the audio from the founder of Scratch Labs, Alan Lim, of course, a legend in the sport, and we also got to talk to some people about their reactions as well.
Yeah, you know, it kind of helps to reorganize the system, but it's a dangerous flavor. You might not be into that kind of danger.
I like it a lot.
Yeah, try it when you're Netflixing. It's an anytime bar.
Off the bike is probably pretty good on. I think it'd be good on the bike.
Try it. Well, you live both on and off the bicycle.
This is true.
Yes.
Life is the bicycle.
What?
Who's that?
Who? Oh yeah. Watch out, guys! We're refilling the cooler.
When we sit over there, dude? Yeah.
Maybe we'll have.
I can squeeze.
I'll be down in North
Okay.
I like the flavor. They're really tasty. Very sugary, which would be good on a long ride. And they're not too chewy.
Have you tried Scratch Labs products before?
I have.
And what did you try?
Do you guys have the little like dissolve tabs? Or is that not you? No, that's you. No, I haven't tried Scratch Lab.
Would you like a sample?
Sure. Yeah. Ooh, that tastes really good. It doesn't taste artificial.
No,
it tastes like water.
Right. With a little bit of a kick.
A little bit of a kick. It's like it almost tastes like fresh fruit is in there.
Yeah, it's actually made from real ingredients.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So
There's nothing artificial in it.
For the endurance side of the spectrum, do you make anything that actually has carbs in it, or is it all electrolytes?
It's all electrolytes.
Do you see much demand for people looking for a little bit of sugar in their drink?
And standing there behind the booth, I could only answer the questions that I knew. I didn't feel like I was qualified to answer a lot of the other questions that the public had about Scratch Labs product. But it was great to be hosted by them. Fantastic experience. And that is our Sea Otter. It's interesting too, because of all the brands we talked to, that just really scratched the surface of all the other brands that were out there. There were so many more that I wish we could have gotten to, but you know, there's only just one of me and a million different companies out there. So it was really cool to experience Sea Otter from not the racing side, even though there was racing going on and I had some friends race, but just from the media side, which is a whole new aspect of it. And it really got to open my eyes to see what was going on with Sea Otter. So there's a couple of sort of key takeaways that I thought were interesting this year. Obviously, the first one is the gravel phenomenon. Yes, it was very mountain bike heavy. Yes, it was very downhill mountain bike and dual slalom heavy as well. There are probably more exhibitors there from the mountain bike side than the road. But of course, every single exhibitor, from tire to frame to different companies making accessories, everybody's talking about how sort of gravel is the new and best upcoming sort of feature within cycling. And I think brands who are on it are definitely sort of plugging into the audience that they do have. The other takeaway is how hard these guys and girls work. They're there early. They're in the dust, in the wind. They're standing all day. They're repeating themselves over and over without having it mentally just crack them. At the end of the day, they got to break things down and then get out of the Laguna Seca area, which if you're a vendor, it takes a good 20 minutes just to get out of the park. And then they got to get home, eat, sleep, and then repeat for the next day. And this was a 4-day event. So I would say, you know, for most people, they're on the customer side of things and they're walking up and down looking for free stickers and shirts and swag. I mean, that's definitely a part of it. But also the people behind the other side of the booth, they're there to promote their products. And they're doing it thanklessly, away from their homes, away from their family and friends. And they're packing up and getting ready to go to the next show. So I have a newfound respect for all things Sea Otter, because at every event they're always there. Of course, Sea Otter is the biggest one. And and from a journalistic standpoint, I only scratched the surface. I tried to see as many different people as I could from lots of different sides of cycling. So fantastic time, and I can't wait to do it next year. Couple of last minute quick announcements. We have a couple of limited spots available for advertising for the show. So if you represent a brand or a product that you're interested in, that you want us promoted on the podcast, please reach out to us. Reach out to our marketing coordinator, Tracy. You can get her email, tracy@socalcyclist.org. She'll get right back to you. And we have a lot of really cool and interesting changes coming up for the future of the podcast. So in terms of things happening, we've got Tour of California next week. Of course, we're going to be there out there, and we'll have a show for that. We have all kinds of new events. We're approaching the stride of the season, and I hope yours is going well. So again, if you have questions, come reach out to me, Brian at SoCalCyclist.org. Instagram, SoCal_cyclist. Facebook is SoCal Cyclist. And until next time, this is Brian Coe for all the vendors and all the brands represented at Sea Otter, saying respect the wave.